Hey everyone, welcome to the second round front nine coverage of the 2017 Jonesboro Open. We've got Team BK coverage today. We've got Gregg Barsby in here with Jeremy Koling. And right now we have Wysocki with a course record 51 first round, followed by myself, Jeremy Koling, at 11, and 5 others at 10 down.
A lot of good play.
Yeah.
Hole 1 is basically a straight shot, and you're going to be playing against the wind and trying to use a disc to flex it out to the pin.
Yeah, this is a nice starting hole. You really get to unleash driver here, and you really can't go long. You got that uphill back slope behind it, and you know if you throw a driver long, it's not going to skip far because you have the uphill surface.
This hole is interesting just because the long throwers, I haven't seen them, like you said, throw past this basket, but I've seen lower distance throwers get right to this pin. So this whole play is pretty interesting, and I also agree this is a great starting hole.
Yeah, I think maybe the reason that the longer throwers aren't getting there maybe is because they're kind of
toning it down maybe just
right.
a touch. I noticed you threw that shot low, but that's quality look there. It's going to get you in circle 2.
Yeah, there was a bit of a headwind like you were mentioning there. I threw my Brinster Destroyer there, and I was a little bit surprised actually at how much it turned over.
Simon should have no problem reaching this hole.
Yeah, you might be going with the putter here. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe a TD or something.
No, actually, he's throwing his PD2. It was really overstable yesterday, but I think that wind was really picking up here. Wysocki actually had a little bit of a gap in the wind when he threw, and threw straight at the pin. He threw a great shot, but the wind was actually really picking up for Johnny. He had the worst wind of the three of us, and you see here.
Oh yeah, that lifted right up and just kind of tilted it over out at the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, he snuck it though. Yeah, and this course kind of plays that way the whole way through, just with the way the land is laying and the wind swirling. Really comes down to timing.
Yeah.
You might catch the point with no wind, or the wind could kick up, just depending on when you throw.
And Simon's bid there was really great, actually. Hard to tell exactly how high of a putt that was, but from where we were standing, it looked like that might be going in.
Koling.
And I had the height right. Yeah, a little bit of wind kept the disc from hyzering out the end, but pretty good run from about 50 feet.
What's Johnny putting these days? Do you know what his putter is?
I actually don't know. I should know that.
He's a good putter. Probably doesn't matter what he's using.
I think he's slamming in judges.
The Rickster, nice birdie there. That's a good start.
And everyone knows Ricky's putting with daggers, and I think that's a good name for a putter when Ricky's behind the.
Seriously.
When Ricky's tossing it, he's daggering it right into the heart.
I don't know if anybody should be putting with the dagger except for Rick.
It should just be exclusive, his disc only. You're not even allowed to throw it.
Yeah. Simon was not happy with that, obviously, because he could throw it about 400 feet past the basket. But that's okay.
And Ricky with back-to-back birdies on that hole, starting off the course right. And on to hole 2 here.
Now this hole's interesting because there's a couple different ways you can play it. There's a few actually. You can play it down the gut and up to the right. You can play the center gap, which is a tighter route but might get you some more distance down the fairway. Or you can play the big hyzer around the tree to the right and play for the 4. Looks like Rick's going for the gut shot. Pulled that just a little bit as you see the leaves flying off.
This is one of the 18 tee shots that Ricky said, "Oh no," right out of his hand.
Going for the big boom over the top. So that's the 4th route. If you have the gusto to smash one over the trees, and I think there's maybe only 4 or 5 of you guys that really can do that shot. I can't make it over that tree.
Yeah, I actually didn't make it over the tree here either. I thought that my shot was going to end up in the field out to the right, but it caught up in the high part of the tree there and dropped right in the middle of it actually. But Simon shows how easy that middle gap is and rips them right in the middle.
He still missed it, clipped some branches, but Simon has a great advantage on this hole because he does throw so far that even if he lays it out there smoothly, he could still probably reach the pin. Whereas some of the uphill run-ups that you get on this hole make the approach really difficult. This is a really good par 4. Rickster under the stuff. That's a really nice shot.
Yeah, I kind of hit a tree that I don't think he was accounting for. Really good looking line out of his hand.
Yeah, that's where you want to put it.
And I was just thinking,
know.
if I can get 100 feet, that'd be great. I could barely even move my hand there.
That's a good shot. Missed the pole. Nice.
Yeah, I was basically thinking if I get to that pole, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, boy, that looks so much closer
Yeah.
on the video than it is in real life. The basket's probably another 80 feet past the crest of the hill and that first tree.
And Johnny threw such a good-looking shot there, and
It's a little wide.
there's a little gap between those two trees, and I'm not sure if he was trying to get that close to him, but really nice looking plane of the shot, just a little bit too wide.
Simon with the low release,
And he
but
made
still
it
got it up to the circle's edge.
all the way to the circle's edge. Out of his hand, I didn't think that was going to be within 70 feet.
Yeah.
But he kept the nose up, and it skipped real nice.
Playing the smooth flick.
Yeah.
You just want to kind of miss those branches or even touch them. Just up there on the green.
About 22 feet away. And Rick just trying to not do anything
Trying to
interesting
conquer
here.
the world.
Yep.
Let's get it. That's a good shot there. Now, I don't think that Johnny wanted to go left here just because of the fence line kind of starts to come into play if you do throw it.
Right. There
Far
is OB about 10 meters left of the basket. And
Simon right off the band.
I thought that was dead center. I really thought he had made
He's
that.
staring it down. He wanted that one. Oh, no. Well, I think we've all done that a couple times.
Yeah.
But that was pretty uncharacteristic.
I've done that twice now in 2 rounds, so it's I'm trying not to
Try not to think
develop
about it.
a reputation as the guy who misses putts from 20 feet.
We'll
but
forget that.
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Well,
Rick definitely doesn't have that reputation.
I just got word that JohnE is putting the shield.
Ah, the shield.
He's using
Okay.
it. And Johnny's definitely using his armor out there. He's smashing. I mean, this course is huge.
Yep.
Playing against Simon and you and Rick is obviously going to be a test. He might not have as much distance as you three, but
Right.
the way the course plays, it's still anybody's game with the OBs.
There is an advantage to the longer thrower for sure. I'm not going to argue against that. However, I feel like the course's distances allow players who don't quite have 600 feet, 500 feet to be able to compete on a level playing field as long as they are executing the shots that you should expect a pro to execute. But on to hole 3, it's really straightforward. A little bit of a low ceiling off the tee. Just 435 feet. And
Rick's looks perfect. I can't tell where the basket is yet. Yep, pretty close.
Rick,
Now you see how close that came to OB. It really doesn't come into play unless you let it go early, and all of a sudden that OB's right there.
right. It kind of sneaks into the back of your head. And I thought it was funny. When Ricky threw the shot out of his hand, I was like, oh, that looks perfect. But he said something like, why are you throwing it so low, stupid? I just think it's funny. He has these post shot reactions. Like, he is nervous on every shot, but he throws the disc perfect.
Yeah.
It's just so funny to me.
He does good.
And so I was a little bit I had thrown this thing real close yesterday, and I was a little bit
Pulled it over just a touch.
a little anxious after that missed 20-footer in the last hole, and I was a little bit
Trying to hit those people in the gallery? What the heck?
yeah, maybe I was. I don't know. I think with my tee shot on hole 2 and then my putt on hole 2, I was maybe just feeling I was a little bit off
The
time.
Nova?
That is my Nova.
Taking the Nova from what, maybe 60 feet or something, 50 feet?
Oh, I was outside circle 2, so
Yeah,
I was pretty
okay.
close to 70
I was
feet.
trying to give you a break, just hoping that you were closer than that.
No, I can't take that break. I was outside 65.
There you go. Simon with a good birdie. His disc went in, and he's happy about that.
Yeah, he's putting well. Coming into this round, he hadn't missed a circle 1 putt in 3 consecutive rounds.
That's really good.
That's getting it done. And he's
Yeah.
also making a ton from outside the circle. So,
Yeah.
we give Ricky all the credit for being, I'd say, the most well-known great putter.
Right now, yeah.
But
Simon's smooth, and I saw him make a putt over there at Harry Myers from like 70 feet, and it looked like a video game.
Yeah, the way he putts, that spin putt, when a spin putter gets on fire, there's no better putter.
Spin to win.
Yeah, and when it gets off, it can be trouble. But right now, he's feeling it. He's making every single putt. So
I think that Simon is also just really happy to be playing golf too. Like, I know that he had an extended break,
right.
and I think he's just stoked to be smashing his disc.
Yeah, he said
It looks good out there.
he said after his memorial event with Ricky, or no, with Paul coming down to the wire, I'm not ready to say I'm back yet. Well, I'll say it for him. He's back.
Yeah, he's throwing it.
He's playing great golf, and he's throwing just as far as he ever was before.
Rickster catching the branch. Now that's kind of an adverse play here. A couple different ways you can play hole 4. You can play one right down the middle. The distance isn't really the factor here. I think it's more of just a good placement and being out there with an open look on your second. You could throw your fairway driver on this hole and still get the 3.
Yeah, the position is really important here. There's just those 2 OB areas, one that's in front and the one you can see over there on the left. And Johnny's going the more traditional route, which is just right down the middle.
That's it right there. Now those stakes, I believe, are 250 feet away from the basket.
Right. The red and white stake's 250, and the blue stake
I saw you throw the shot, and I was like, what the heck is he doing?
I wasn't feeling the flow yet.
But the good thing is I was like, you know what? You could still save it up and down from there.
As long as you're not behind a tree here, you should be able to get pretty close to the basket.
Wow, nice shot.
And I put myself about 25 feet away.
Yeah. JohnE. Notice the follow through.
Yeah.
Finish that shot, and it shows.
Yeah, maybe no one has a better follow through on their putts or throws than JohnE, and he really gets 100% out of what his body can
He
produce.
commits to all his shots.
Absolutely.
I love watching him play just for that reason. He's always just full bore commitment.
Full fire.
Smashing.
He's just a fiery player.
And then Simon, just la-di-da.
Yeah, la-di-da, just like Rick.
Whoops.
Yeah,
He
not...
la-di-da that one a little too easy. He played that one tight instead of maybe playing a turnover.
One thing in the way.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Slow-mo. Super smooth.
His follow-through is just always right in the pole. And
Look at
really,
that slow-mo high five. That was awesome.
Yeah, slow-mo high
Way to
five.
go.
This basket was looking about half the size the basket normally looks after that last
2
holes ago.
It's like it's shrinking.
Yeah, well, I was happy to see that the disc was shrinking too because it went right in the middle, so that was a good thing.
JohnE, nice putt. Easy 3 there. That's textbook. He's been doing that for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, JohnE was really the only guy that would keep Ken Climo in order back home in Florida. He was the guy that could take him down and kept him sharp.
Absolutely.
So
nice birdies there for the whole group on hole 4.
okay, into hole 5. This is one of my favorite holes on the course.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This is if you have the shot, you can go for it and maybe pick up a stick or 2 on the field.
Yeah.
If you don't, I think the play is to lay up and get your 3. But it's a great risk-reward hole, and the only thing that I maybe don't like about this hole are the signs. I watched Drew, and I heard about one other player that hit the sign, and it looked like it was going to go in right near the basket, and it hit, and then they're back at the drop zone.
Right.
So this is a very risky shot. Looks like the top guys are just playing this one smooth. It's early in the game, and they don't necessarily need that stroke. So they're just playing the 3 here. Easy par.
And JohnNe's going for a layup and threw a bit more of an aggressive layup than what Ricky and Simon threw. I think he may be trying to give himself a putt.
Oh, no!
And he hit the
What?
sign and split him, and he went OB.
Ah.
And we all thought it was a great shot from the tee.
That's perfect. That's exactly what Philo did, and he had a putt. He was right on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
That is a smart play.
And I can't see myself laying up on this hole. And I actually thought that I had hit the sign and gone OB. And I heard some claps. And
Safe.
And actually, Jomez was the first one to tell me that I was safe. And if you see that, that's out by circle 2. So that means out 65 feet long of the 495
Wow.
foot hole.
Yeah, I could see it's downhill.
It's downhill.
But you threw that basically all hyzer too.
I threw a Pro Boss that just likes to glide and
basically didn't stand up too much.
Right. And Ricky, I thought Ricky had jammed that one. That looked like that was perfect. And
Johnny, back at the drop zone, that's just a tough break right there. And, you know, he hit, oh my goodness.
That's like the toughest 4 to swallow ever.
That's the 2 best shots you'll see. Get a 4 there.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And this is my run from 65.
You beefcaked that shot. Get some. Nice hit.
Yeah, that was a good feeling right there.
No doubt. Look at that thing just float. That's what you want him to look like.
Yeah.
Just started to hyzer back. You know, that perfect look. Good birdie. I got that one yesterday as well.
Yeah, you and I were the only 2 actually
Really?
in the field to get that one.
Good for us.
Yeah, good for us.
Awesome.
So that's a feeling of it feels like an eagle in a way. You know, any
Plays
hole where
like an eagle.
Any hole where you're getting a stroke on the entire field, essentially, it plays like an eagle.
So he played both of those.
Yes, he was playing provisional there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so he wasn't just throwing an extra putter in the basket.
You know, if you haven't seen JohnE play, he does the turbo as good or better than anyone. So
Right.
I don't think he was really that frustrated. Obviously, he's a bit perturbed, but
Yeah.
when he turboed that in the basket, that wasn't out of anger.
Yeah,
that's because he's that good at it.
Well, that's how he does his tap-ins. You're going to see,
it's
know,
crazy.
You'll see that a lot when you watch him play.
This is another really good hole, and this one I think depends on what the wind is doing. If it gets windy out here, this hole all of a sudden becomes a much different monster.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you have a flick, it kind of takes some of the guesswork out of it.
Kind of becomes an ace run in a way.
Are you playing
I threw
fast disc?
I threw a destroyer here. Yeah,
Gotcha.
just
Nice and smooth.
something that I can just rely on, just hitting the
Hooking
hillside
back.
and sitting.
Yeah, I played the eagle here. Rick's probably playing something
He's
like
throwing felon.
Felon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Ricky's throwing
That's
his
a
felon,
beauty.
just fighting the wind, and
that's a beauty.
yep, with his with the amount of spin that comes out of his disc, he can throw a fairway driver pretty easy here.
Simon,
I believe this is a somewhat less stable PD2.
PD2.
This is the one he throws from more of his distance shots.
Yeah.
And
Johnny playing the backhand, that's got a great look to it. Just
Yeah.
stay straight.
And we all thought kind of an ace run,
Ooh.
but yeah, just a little bit short of coming up by the chains, but still everyone's parked. Everyone's going to get 2 here.
No, what are you doing?
Ow!
What happened?
I
Come on, you're looking.
was having a conversation with some friends. I was having a good time. I wasn't focused,
Didn't have
and
your focus.
I spent maybe less than a third of a second to prepare and go through my thought process there.
Right.
And I'm actually kind of happy it happened because it kind of
Woke
made
you
me
up a little bit.
it woke me up to on my putts. Like, you can't do that anymore, you know? Like,
Right.
and so hopefully I learned from that today and going forward,
Yeah,
because
keep your head in the game. It's hard sometimes. You see a buddy, hey, how you doing? Having a great week.
it's so embarrassing too. You have a gallery and then you do something like that. And you're just like, there's no need for that ever in this world. But you know what?
I can't tell you how many of those you've made.
Hopefully, the only thing you can do from that is learn from it. You know, just be better next time, stupid.
Yeah, we all have them.
Yeah.
Have them from time to time. This course.
I just happen to have 2 of them so far.
Yeah, I think I was at the same number through the same amount of holes.
Hole 7 is a great hole. It's a par 4 where the distance is really going to help you have an easier approach.
Now you can play this hole 2 ways. You can play the left side of the tree, or it looks like Ricky kind of just playing right under the tree. It's not necessarily. It's like right in between where you want to go.
Yeah.
Now on the right side, it might be a tougher approach with trees in the way. On the left side, you're going to be dealing with ticks. And
Isn't that on the right side and the center side and all sides?
I don't know. I went over here the first round. I pulled 3 off me on the next tee pad.
Yeah.
It's pretty extreme out here right now.
Yeah, if you haven't heard, the ticks are kind of an issue out here, but the tournament staff was actually pretty nice. They went out and bought a bunch of DEET, tick DEET, or I don't know if there's such thing as tick DEET. Gosh. Oops.
Dick Teat?
Dick Teat,
There
yeah.
it is.
We'll just go ahead and say I said Dick Teat. Anyways, but that was available for us to put on, and I didn't pull any ticks off my leg this whole second round, so it was well done by the tournament staff to hook us up with that.
That is really cool.
And as you see there, my tee shot was turned over a bit too much. It's gonna make my approach.
Johnny, get in.
He was calling for it.
Wow.
He was
That
calling
was a
for
nice
it.
little backstop.
Yeah, sure was.
Rickster, you're going to play a turnover through the branches, looked like it clipped one of them and slowed it down.
He makes that look so easy. He's out of position.
Yeah.
Has to throw a shot he was not planning, and he made it look routine.
Yeah, you can't tell that was not where he wanted to be.
Right, exactly. And that's what Ricky does so well.
Yeah, he's a great scrambler. He does have a really good utility flick with that turnover. Mm-hmm. Like one of the best.
And Simon, for the second straight day, lands about 30 to 33 feet short. He'd like to be a lot closer. And
you're playing the high line here to try to drop it in, maybe?
Yeah, I was out of position, and I had to go high over the top, and fortunately used my pro backspin the wrong direction, but still inside the circle.
Too much red button there.
Yeah, too much red button.
Simon looked like he wasn't so sure about that one staying in, but it does.
Yeah, he's
rolling.
Just making every single putt he sees.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah, there he is.
So what's this, about 25?
Yeah, somewhere around that range. Just that...
Ching, ching. Good, solid look.
Just that
That time you were focused.
Right. I took my time, did my routine that time. Wasn't trying to rush myself and trying to get back on track.
So what are you putting with these days now that you're with Innova?
I'm putting with the Pro P2s.
Whoa!
The Ricky patented stall putt.
It's amazing how many of those. It's amazing how many of those stick for Rick. Like he just jams them in the heart from 20 feet, and they just somehow the chains hold them.
Yeah, he's somehow. Like I said before, I've tried to practice that style of putt just to see what it would do for me. I can't get my disc to sit in the chains that way. I don't know if it's just how blunt the dagger is,
might be
as
that
opposed to
and the nose down or something. Like
he crushes it in there, and it sticks on that pole for an extra half second longer than anyone else's putt.
Yeah, it's literally bury up in the top and then fall down.
Yeah, anyways, on to hole 8, which is a really difficult par 3 if you don't have a forehand.
And it's a very, very simple one if you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, there's a couple different ways that a hole like this plays out. Now that you have all these fast discs, I feel like this is a hole that's unnecessary, and it's kind of a bailout hole for a lot of flick guys. Looks like Rick almost aces it.
Yeah.
What disc was that he threw? Maybe the Felon?
Yeah, the pink disc that he told me he was throwing the Felon. So I'm pretty sure that's what that is, but...
That's a quality play. Woo! Almost got it.
Not bad.
But you see a lot of guys that maybe don't have the touch on their flick would play like a destroyer here, or maybe like an overstable driver, just to literally play it out. Wow, Simon, that's sick nasty. That's a really good play, and that just shows his time playing the sport and just knowing the game. Like he could throw a roller out there and get it to stand up real quick.
This is the only person I've seen in 2 rounds throw a backhand, and Johnny just doesn't throw forehands. I don't think I've seen him throw a forehand once.
Nice. Yeah, Philo threw the backhand rock here as well.
Philo would be the other player, but I've actually seen Philo throw some forehands.
Yeah, he does.
What I like seeing from Simon throw that roller is he just likes to have fun, which is just so admirable.
But that's also a great play there if you have the skills and you know your disc well enough.
Sure.
That's a really good play because you know it's going to curl. If you hit it in the right place, it'll curl up the hill. Johnny, bang, bang.
And you're definitely not going to go past the basket as far uphill as it is. So.
No, it'll curl back down even if you do. And
I will admit that my tee shot got away from me, and I was certain that I was going to get up to my lie and I was going to have a 50-foot layup. The one thing you do not want to do is go into these woods here because it is thick and it is trouble.
I was right over in that bush behind Simon there and had to make a flick the first round.
Oh my gosh, and you made it?
I made it.
Wow. Yeah.
It's actually not really the most fun place to be. Looking down a hill, throwing a flick at it.
No, it's trouble over there. So good thing that everyone managed to stay away from there. And
bye, Jeremy.
A good card of birdies there.
As the lead card should. Like I said, there's a couple holes out here that really aren't going to separate. That's one of them. Even guys with a really good backhand are going to get that, and the flick guys are either going to ace it or they're going to birdie it.
And if you start a pro tour with the lead, going in the second round, a good way to maintain that lead is to be 6 down through 8 holes.
That is good. Now we come to hole 9, which is probably one of the sickest holes on this course. There's a few different ways to approach it. Main thing you want to do here is hit the initial gap and send it out straight as far as you can, basically. Rick's playing the hyzer flip up, and that looks like it's staying to the right just a little too much.
It's not where he wanted to be off the tee, just because he's going to have that tree in the way. Fortunately, there's enough gaps underneath that tree that you can manage to throw some shots under the limbs.
Tell me he clears this tree.
Oh, easily.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, he's done that shot 2 days in a row now in prime position.
Yeah, that's money ball.
Yeah. And Johnny's just doing Johnny things.
Now notice, I really like the play here. He kept it low off the ground. What you can't really tell on the video, but from where the tee pad is, the ground kind of rises maybe 3 or 4 feet and then drops off this hill. So if you put it up in the air, all of a sudden it's 50 feet in the air.
Yeah, it forces players to throw high. And as you see here, I threw it a little high and got away from me a bit on the right side.
Still in the fairway though.
Still fought out to the fairway. I'll have a look.
Yeah, I really like that. I feel like you get further if you throw that one low and you kind of beam it, but it's like the trick. You know, looking at it the first time, you throw it up in the air over the hill and it fades out a really long way. Nice shot.
Yeah,
That's thumber.
Flat top Firebird, really great for thumbers.
That was a big shot.
Yeah, it was fun to throw those, and Ricky's just finding ways of getting around.
Sick.
Look at this shot, and what I heard.
Oh my!
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding
That's disgusting.
me? That's the world's #1 play right there.
I had
that's incredible.
Similar one.
We had
my third and got down to about 15 feet, and it was one of the best shots I threw all day. That's disgusting.
We had no idea that it hit the cage from there. We couldn't hear anything.
Rick.
The people that were up there that could see it didn't give us any indication that it hit it. But wow. And Johnny just basically, that's kind of what you want to do. That's what Simon's play is on this hole.
That's literally what you want to do. You throw it right at that branch, and then you hope that maybe slides by it, and you get down there.
Right.
If you hit it, you still get a putt. So.
And if you do hit it, and it does go by, then it slows it down enough that you're not going to go way past on this hole.
Maybe if Jomez was filming the third card, you probably would have seen a sick putt yesterday. But
just a bit of a...
Simon. He's in attack mode. Boom. Yeah. Nice hit.
Just on fire.
I got one. Oh, he's loving it.
Of course
Simon.
It is. What else would you do besides love that? That's just
JohnE McCray. And smooth straddle as all day right there.
Yeah, making good with his shield. Really nice up and down putt there on that hole. You want to, I think on a downhill putt like that, the up and down putt is really nice just so you avoid any sort of long comebacker. Exactly.
Wow, so Rick's got like a 28-footer after hitting the pin.
Which I call a Rick 18-footer.
Right, it's more like an 8-footer for Rick.
Right, it's 18 to 8, whatever you want to say, either way.
Rick's like a pterodactyl. You know? He's just like so big, he's just like...
And there's something that you can't hide in this sport, and one thing you can't hide is a shaky putt. That was a shaky putt. But I got away with it with a par and 3. I call them bonus birdies.
It was a little sketchy, but yeah, 3s are all great there. 4 is a fine score.
So it ends the front 9. Ricky with an outstanding 24, 7 down on the front. Simon right behind him, and Johnny's playing some good golf. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll come at you guys later on with the back 9 and the coverage from the 2017 Jonesboro Open.
Check you later. Thanks.